Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. I'm Nikhil Singh, Project Director of Brightaby Global Advisors. We are career counselors based on Bangalore with associate offices in most of the metropolitan cities in India. Okay. Today we'll be discussing on various topics related to NEET 2020 and different courses in this healthcare sector as a whole. Okay, but before we start, I would really request all the parents of the NEET aspirants to understand that if a student has not qualified NEET this time, there are various other fields or even options in medical field, which we'll be covering up in the later part of this video. And for the student who has qualified NEET with even a bare minimum, they are more than eligible to become a doctor. For that, when we'll be discussing the statistics, you'll understand that, because we just lack the infrastructure at the present status. Okay, so please bear with me in the entirety of the video, and we'll jump to the statistics portion now. Okay, we'll begin with the topic discussions. What are the topics that we'll be beginning to cover, and we'll start. Okay, we'll be giving the overview of the topics. As you can see on the screen, the first topic that we'll be covering up, point number 1 would be statistics of MBBS. It is really necessary for you guys to understand that the statistics of the MBBS would actually define if you are getting a seat or not this time. Second point that we'll be discussing is the private versus deemed versus the government medical colleges. Is any one of these colleges are better, or the government medical colleges are better than the rest of them, or if it is just a hoax. Coming up to the next point, we'll be discussing about the counseling processes. The different state has a different reservations. Okay, the open state, what are open state, the different categories, the fee structures of different states. Okay, the next point what we'll be covering up is how you would do the financial planning of the private and deemed medical colleges. A lot of students have this doubt: how do I bear my medical education, the expenses, the tuition fees, the hostel fees, etc. We'll be covering that up. The next point that we'll be covering up is the MBBS in abroad. Pros and cons. There are pros to abroad admission, and even there are cons to the abroad admissions. We'll be covering that up, and which countries to choose from. It is a very heated topic, and I'll be telling you exactly as you want it. The next topic that we'll be covering up is BMS versus BDS admissions. Okay, is the BMS better or the BDS better? We'll be covering that up. Finally, for all the students who wouldn't be able to qualify this NEET examination but still want to go in this healthcare sectors, we'll be giving you an overview of the paramedical and the nursing courses. What are they? A basic briefing regarding this. So we'll start with the first topic, that is the statistics of the medical course. Look, what happens is every year there's a certain number of students who are sitting for this examination. Most of the students are going through this examinations every year, dropping their years to become a doctor actually. Okay, the total number of seats at present in India in government and private colleges, if you combine all the states and every colleges that is present in India, it is 80,055. This year a few more states would be added to the count, but still it wouldn't be like not much to cater the needs of the students. There's a huge demand of the doctor in today's India, and this pandemic has proved this, but we still lack the infrastructure to develop all these doctors what we need today. The total number of BDS seats that we have in India is 26,949 seats for the entire India. Okay, this number is really very less if you compare to the number of students who are giving these examinations every year. Now we'll be discussing about this 2019, and we'll be reflecting how 2019 statistics and 2018 statistics differed a lot. Okay, so as you can see, the total number of students who appeared in 2019 is 14,10,755. The qualified students being 56.5% in 2019. Okay, now the NEET cutoff percentile of 2019 and 2018, you just look at it how different it was for 2019 and 2018. Okay, so this clearly proves the point that 2020, no matter how many predictions you see, okay, this won't actually be accurate, because this exact percentile, all the cutoff, okay, totally depends upon the topper's score, that is the all India ranking 1, and it all even depends upon the number of students how they have performed in the specific categories. There are various categories, as you can see. I'll just brief you about it. This UR stands for the unreserved category. The SC category, ST and OBC, you guys know that these kind of categories. Finally, this PH is for physically handicapped sections. This category is a subcategory to the UR and ST, SC, OBC. Okay, you get reservations out of this physically handicapped at the same time. Now, I'll just give you a very basic briefing. Okay, what happens when in 2019, if you look at the All India ranking 1, who got a score of 701, and compared to a ranking of 20th ranking All India, okay, the score difference was 690 to 701. Total difference was 10. Now we'll compare it to somebody who is having 99 score, who got a score of 99 rank, okay, who got a score of 680. Again, 10 ranks is different. Okay, now coming about 680, from 680 to 581, if you got a marks in 2019, you must have seen the marks difference is 99, but the rank difference become 1,25,675, and now that is a very big number to digest, because the total number of seats in India, you can see that it is 80,055. Okay, but you see that all the toppers, if you are having 580 plus score, okay, you are getting this like any good colleges, but somebody who's having less score wouldn't be able to fill that gap. Now coming to the main point, what happens is this reservation comes into play. Okay, for different states there's a different reservation. Okay, for all India it is different reservation basically. Okay, so you guys have to even note that. Now coming to the basic details of the different types of colleges that you'll find in India. Okay, there are totally primarily 3 types of colleges that you'll find in India. Okay, the first one being the deemed college, the second the private, and the third most sought after, the government colleges. Now any student who's watching this video will think that the government colleges are the best colleges. Okay, but is it so? Actually the point is, it is the wrong question to ask. The point being, the government colleges are actually the lowest, or the cheapest, what you can say, in the costing wise. So people tend to prefer this kind of colleges rather than a private or a deemed one. But there's absolutely nothing like that. The government colleges have a higher ranking than the private or the deemed colleges. There are various deemed and private colleges whose ranking is much higher than the government colleges. Most of the government colleges wouldn't even stand a higher ranking rather than other colleges, private or deemed. Okay, the ranking of the college depends upon the infrastructure, how the students of the college has performed eventually throughout the years. Okay, and how the college treats the patients. Okay, I'll just give you a brief information. In today's India, would you, if you are sick, if you have a medical insurance, you'd rather go for a private or a deemed college or deemed hospital basically to treat yourself. You wouldn't be going for a free government checkup. Okay, this is very evident. We are lacking in the infrastructure every year. In this, we'll be not talking about the AIMS and the JIPMERs, okay, because that would be the AIMS and JIPMER is added this year in 2020. Okay, and that is very few seats to be exact. Okay, the addition would be really very few and negligible to take it into consideration. Now, why the deemed colleges are the less sought after? Because it has got the highest fees. The fees ranging of deemed colleges starts from minimum 10 lakh per year to 40 lakh rupees per year. And the private colleges, it comes from 5 lakh rupees per year to 16 lakh rupees per year for different states. The government colleges, whereas the fees starts from 5,000 rupees to 1 lakh per year, and even sometimes you get a scholarship for the government colleges. It definitely doesn't mean that the government colleges are the better than the private or the deemed colleges. Please, as a student or the parent, you should understand that. The only difference is about the fee structure and absolutely nothing else. Okay, the how you're gonna send your student to a different college, it totally depends upon how you perceive the college. The government colleges have a higher cutoff range because people tend to choose it. Nothing else regarding this. From tomorrow, if students are preferring private colleges, it would be the most, highest cutoff would be going for the private colleges. And please understand this point. Now we'll be talking about the different types of, how do you get a government college. The government college, please understand, the government college is, how you get a government college is through the central counseling or the state counseling. Okay, what happens is the only difference is, like, if you go for a private college, you can only get it through the state counseling and nowhere else. Deemed college is again allotted to you by the central counseling, not by the state counseling. Okay, the central counseling allots 15% of the government colleges from each state, whereas the state counseling will allot you 85% of the government college of the each state. Please understand this point and don't forget this, because this would come very handy in the counseling process. Now we'll be covering up a next topic. Our next topic being the implementation of NMC. Okay, NMC stands for National Medical Committee. Okay, this is the predecessor, this would actually overtake MCI, which is already dissolved in India now. Okay, now the introduction of NMC, it comes with a very long list of rules and regulations that would follow up. But for the starting, we'll just, until unless all the rules and everything comes out, we'll just start with some points that will be implemented by the introduction of NMC. Okay, the private medical education to get cheaper. This means that the NMC has demanded for each and every private institution throughout the country to give some of their seats for allotment, making it a lot cheaper. Okay, the MBBS final year examination to serve as an entrance test for the PG and foreign medical admission. Okay, so basically what this tells is there'll be no NEET PG examinations by the time you complete. You guys who are watching this video, by the time you complete your medical admission, like a medical certification course, what would happen is you have to give just one examination for your licensing, as well as which will serve you as a post graduation examination as well. Okay, for all the students who will be going abroad, you guys, when you come back, you don't have to go through a separate screening test. You'll be sitting with the students who are studying in India to give the same examination and to get yourself the licensing, or to go for a higher education in India for MD and MS. Now, the new cadre for non-medical participants with limited medicine dispensing right to be created. Now, we have seen that a lot of doctors are selling the medicines, even though they are not authorized. So this would be totally, scrubbed up since the introduction of NMC. So this NMC comes with a benefit as well as for losses, as in because the whole structure will be disrupted for the time being. Now we'll be discussing about the counseling processes, the different types of seats. For the time being, there are 3 types of seat if you are going through the main counseling processes. But actually, for some states in India, there are 4 types of seats in Karnataka and Maharashtra. And after the introduction of the NMCs, there will be always 4 types of seat that will be available. The first type being the government seats in a government medical college. The fees ranging from 5,000 rupees to maximum 75,000 rupees per year, which is the most sought after seats at the same time. The second type of seats that we'll have to consider is the government seat in certain private colleges. We have seen a trend in Karnataka and Maharashtra wherein the private colleges has to give a certain amount of seats to the government for the allocation through the state medical council. Okay, in the state counseling processes actually. So the fees per year is around 1.30 lakh rupees per year for this type of seats. The third types of seats are private seat in a private college, obviously, and this fees ranges from 5 lakh rupees for Kerala to maximum up to 16 lakh rupees per year for other states. Okay, the 4 types of colleges that we see is the private seats in a deemed college. Now, since deemed colleges have their own autonomy, they get to decide their own fee structure. So basically what happens is, for deemed colleges, it varies from college to college, and that is very typical to determine, because for most of the deemed colleges, the fees is not at all constant. There's absolutely right now no regulation to reduce these fees. For the deemed colleges, the fees may range from 10 lakh rupees per year to up to 40 lakh rupees per year, just depending upon the college and their criteria. Now we'll discuss about the reservations in the central counseling, that is the all India quota. If you are going through the counseling path of all India quota, you must note these points. The SC gets to enjoy 15% of the reservation, okay, of the seats, of the total seats, that is 80,055. If some plus or minus seats are there this time, then the SCs will be getting 15% of those seats. The ST, on the other hand, will be getting 7.5% of the total number of seats that would be reserved for the ST category. The OBC would be enjoying 27% of the total seats in present in MBBS admissions. Okay, the EWS gets to enjoy 10% of the reservation, whereas the PWD enjoys 5% reservation only. Now understand, for a student, you need to understand that in a specific category you need to compete with the students who are from the same category. SC candidate is not supposed, they are not going to compete with the unreserved category. They have their own competition. So basically this category actually matters a lot at the time of the counseling. Okay, now we'll be discussing about the open states. What are open states? Open states are the states wherein you can go for the counseling even if you're like apart from the central counseling, even if you're not the domicile of the same state. Open states give, like, the student gets to enjoy the admissions by going through the counseling of the different states in the open. Okay, the open states being UP, Rajasthan, Kerala and Karnataka. Some other states, when later on their seats are not filled, they open up the forms for the all the students throughout India so that their seats are filled. So this is the concept of open states. If you are from any area, if you are having a domicile of any state, you can still apply for these open states. Now coming to the point, like for a domicile, what is a domicile state? A domicile state is there where the number of colleges are low. So the state decides to reserve all the seats for the students of the same state. It is closed counseling just done through inside the state for all the students who are a domicile of the same state. No third person can get a seat in the state to the state counseling. But for the all India quota, they still can go to the same state with a 15% reservation. Okay, 15% of the seats is the students get through the central counseling. Please understand and note this point. Now we come down to the fee structures for different states. Okay, we'll be not covering up the deemed colleges fee structure because that actually varies a lot because of the seats being autonomous. All the deemed colleges have their own autonomy, whereas a private college doesn't have their own autonomy. They are affiliated to a university of the state. Okay, this is why they are regulated, whereas a deemed college has its own autonomy and they are not regulated, so their fee structures differs a lot. Now coming towards the different kind of states. Okay, in Andhra Pradesh, the basic actually private seat cost is 13.37 lakh rupees per year. Okay, whatever fee structure I'm telling you right now is of 2019. Okay, just to give you an overview of the different states. This time, after the implementation of the NMC, this might get reduced, or at least 50% of the seats would be reduced, okay, in price. So please understand and note this point. For Bihar, the average fees is around 8.5 to 13.5 lakh rupees per annum. For Gujarat, around 8.25 to 16 lakh rupees per annum. For Haryana, it is 10 to 18 lakh rupees per annum. Okay. For example, in Karnataka, it is 8.3 lakh rupees per annum. Okay. So as you can see, it varies a lot from state to state. Okay, somewhere the private seat are even mentioned as management quota seats. Okay, so please don't get confused over this MQ seat and a private seat. It is both the same thing at the end of the day. If you're getting it through the counseling, it is actually a merit seat. Please don't confuse it to be a management seat. It is through the merit based only you are getting the same seats. So don't get confused over it. Now coming to the point of the state categories. For different state, if we are making a video out of for different categories in different states, trust me, this video itself is gonna be very big, because every state, the category is really very different. From state to state, it varies a lot. For state to state, it is not the same as in the all India reservation, that is ST, SC, OBC. From state to state, it differs a lot. They have a various headings under which the different categories are mentioned. So please, for your own state, It gets updated after the MCI counseling. For the state counseling, there's a brochure where you can get the state categories. Please do refer to that to know your category in a specific in your own state basically. Okay. Now we'll move down to the next topic. The next topic being private deemed and deemed financial planning. I know a lot of you guys I know a lot of you guys would be confused about a private and a deemed college. Most likely, most of the guys think that the private and deemed college are the same thing, but actually, they are not. A private college is a college that is affiliated to the state medical counseling. Okay, it is you get the seats through the state counseling only, whereas a deemed college is an autonomous body who gets it recognition directly by the MCC, now the NMC, and they have their own autonomy. Let's see, and we have to look for it if it gets regulated this time or not. Okay, but we'll just go through the financial planning. As you can see, the fees of a private and a deemed college is really very high. Yeah, no doubt about it, hands down. But the point is, even these are the some of the best institutions in the country. If you ask me why, it is just because of the infrastructure. When your student is going for a 4.5 years course and 6 months internship, what kind of a medical education he is going through really matters a lot to them, because the kind of faculty they have, the kind of facilities they get in the college, the kind of labs, okay, the kind of equipments, all these points do matter at the end of what kind of a doctor they are becoming. Okay, so even though the fees is really high for private and deemed colleges, it is really some of the best institutions are in this category. Trust me on this, most of the government colleges are having a very bad ranking compared to private and deemed colleges. Okay, if you want, you can refer to it online, because this source is absolutely correct. Okay, now if you have to go for a private or a deemed college, how do you get yourself, how do you finance it yourself? So all the parents and the students who are watching this video, please note this slide. Herein, we have given up a basic briefing of what the different banks provide, and this student loan facility is only given to the MBBS students and MBBS admission. Please don't get confused over it. For other courses, this won't be reliable to you. Okay, if you are going for MBBS through a merit seat, what I mean by merit seat is you get it through the state counseling or the central counseling, be it a private college or a deemed college. If you get it through the merit, you can avail up to 30 lakh rupees from SBI, and the repayment period would be almost 15 years after the completion of the course. Okay, after 1 year actually completion of the course, that makes it 6 years from today you can start repaying the loans, and doctors do have a very good salary, so you don't need to worry about the loan process and everything. Okay, the rate of interest and everything varies a lot, and the rate of interest is calculated after for different banks it is different. So please refer to your nearest bank. And how do you apply for it? How you apply for it is, the parent is the co-applicant of the student, who is also the guarantor of the student. And this, what do we mean by the guarantor is, if in case the student flunks or he is dropped out of college, the parent has to bear the loan amount what he has taken from the bank. Okay, what the bank has already released for the students education. In the in this financial planning only, apart in this education loan, apart from the tuition fees, even the hostel fees is covered up. So please, you don't need to worry about the hefty fee strike. If you are passionate to do MBBS, go for it. It is really worth it at the end of the day. You just need to follow your passion. Okay, for parents out there, please note that you need to have a fixed job or a business with a non-movable property. For for more information on this, you can contact us, because it just depends upon need to need basis. We'll be consulting you over these points. Okay, coming to the next topic, that is the most awaited one. That is MBBS in abroad. Okay, a lot of students these days are going for abroad for MBBS. Okay, so for all the students who are going to abroad, our duty as educational counselors is to tell you the pros as well as the cons if you're going abroad. Okay, the pros are added this time because of the introduction of the NMC, but at the end of the day, it just boils down to the point: how much effort you can put and what like how much passionate you are to become a doctor. Okay, abroad is really a very good option to become a doctor, because the pros being, there's no absolutely no capitation and the fees is really very low. Okay, compared to India, the fees range from 12 lakh rupees to 32 lakh rupees, for the which covers the entire expenses of 5 to 6 years. When I'm saying 5 to 6 year means it is, different for different countries. MBBS in different countries take different time periods to complete, so please note this point. Okay, obviously you get a much more exposure than somebody who's studying in India. Okay, so yeah, it is exactly like that, and there's no separate examination for MBBS in abroad. Okay, so yeah, you get a lot of exposure, you have less package. If you're passionate, the even the package range is less, but there are certain cons. Not everything that looks very lovely is actually lovely. Okay, the cons being the language barrier and cultural shock. Whenever you go far from home, the culture would be different. Okay, and you need to cope up with it. Okay, so please understand this point. It is not really gonna be easy. For the time being, you can think that I'll survive that thing, but really it is very difficult. That is why whenever you go for abroad countries, you will see the citizens from different countries flock together, because they can't get over the culture or the language barrier. Okay, so and yeah, the language would be a necessity, but because it would come into handy, it is your profession as a doctor. Okay, to consult with the customers and everything, you eventually have to learn the language. There's no other way around it. Okay, so please go through it. Please understand, if you're going abroad, okay, the travel expenses are costlier, and you have to plan it years, like 6 months before, because you won't be getting, if you want to come back to India the next day, it won't be really possible. Okay, it is not that very easy. Okay, the third point that will cover up is, if you are going abroad, the syllabus is not gonna be the same just like in India for most of these countries. Okay, and the study structure would even be different from what your colleagues would be studying in India. Okay, and yeah, for some countries your credit may not get transferred back to India. Finally, for the time being, there is a screening test for registration and licensing in India. If you come back to India, you have to go through this registration and screening test. But if you are going for this, like if this NMC is interacted, this would be actually done throughout India. So when you come back, you'll be sitting with your fellow classmates right now who is going for this MBBS, and you guys would be doing the same examination. It just depends who is more passionate to become a doctor, and if you can comply with that, the cutoffs and all. Okay, so now the different countries for MBBS on abroad. What we deal with is Bangladesh, Nepal, Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, Armenia, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan. There's a whole lot of countries. You can choose any one of these countries. Why I'm not putting US and other countries is because they have a separate category how to get into the examination, and like we have mentioned, there is no separate exam entrance test for these countries. For other countries, there's a separate examination. Okay, as a student, you must be confused now looking at all these countries, which countries to exactly choose. Okay, so it is just depends upon a preference. Suppose you're a student who want to settle abroad after doing your MBBS admission. Okay, after your MBBS, after becoming a doctor, then you can choose all the countries like Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, you'll definitely have a good salary. But yeah, if you're coming back to India, trust me on this, the examination won't be easy, and it is again a cutting throat competition, just like right now you have suffered. So if you're looking yourself to come back to India after some times, you should prefer for Bangladesh or Nepal. Okay, because the fee structure is relatively lower than of India, and compared to Bangladesh and Nepal, all the other countries have a much lower fee structure. Okay, India is one of the costliest country to study MBBS in the whole South Asia Pacific. Okay, understand this point, and it is due to a specific reason that the Indian education system is really very rigorous. Okay, if you look at US, most of the doctors who are practicing in US, you'll find maximum number of Indians there. because we go through a very rigorous training in India to have a registration as a doctor, and that eventually actually pays off. Okay, so if you're looking forward to coming back to India and practice in India, you should opt for Bangladesh and Nepal. If it is abroad, you can again go choose for any other countries, and it won't be a problem to you anyways. Now we'll be discussing about the next topic. Okay, that is, if you're not going abroad, if you're not getting seat in India in MBBS, what are your options? Obviously the third option being you just change your course. You eventually you want to become a doctor, right? So basically what happens is you can go for these courses. BHMS is Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Science, and BDS is Bachelor of Dental Science. Both are totally different courses. Okay, so please never compare these two courses with one another. What happens is these two courses have an entirely different meanings. Okay, if you're going for BMS, it is one of the most futuristic courses and which would have a very great potential in the coming years. But for the time being, if you want to go for a course and be known as a doctor, you can go for BDS. It just depends upon the preferences. Both of these courses are equally good enough, but it comes with certain points you need to follow if you're going through any of these courses. For BMS, if you want to settle in India after some time, you should opt for BMS. It has got a very 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 bright future in the coming years. A lot of money is being influxed in India in this Ayurvedic research and sciences. Okay, compared to that BDS in India, if you look at it, you don't have that much potential, but if you are going for a clinic or something like that, it is going to pay it off. If it is going to pay you well. But BDS, if you're planning to settle abroad, this is the most beautiful course you can go for at a much 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 lower price range, because the packages of BDS is really very low, and eventually if you settle in abroad, your chances of getting a very good and handsome salary package is very 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 high. Okay, so these are totally two different courses. Please don't compare these courses, and you need to have a futuristic goals to choose between any of those courses. What you will eventually do in life will matter when it comes down which course you will select. Okay, so please note this point. Okay, for the BMS, there's the most salary in India after you complete. After MBBS, it is the most sought after courses in India, at least BMS. Whereas BDS, you can go for it in India too, because you'll have a very good experience in India. The education system is really good, and eventually it would be much easier for you to crack any other examination in foreign countries and register yourself as a doctor there. You'll have eventually a very good packages. Okay, so please don't confuse between these courses. For more information, which course is better for you exactly as a student, okay, you can contact us and we'll guide you through your own potential and through your own merit. We have a team which excels in this future guiding counseling process. Okay, now the next topic. This topic will be overviewing the paramedical and nursing courses. Why this paramedical and nursing courses? What are they basically? Okay, do you need to have NEET qualifying? Do you have to compulsory qualify NEET to get these courses? The answer is actually no. Okay, if you're looking for a healthcare sector, if you're looking for a job in a healthcare sector, okay, these two courses can get you through and eventually land up to a place wherein you get a very good high incentive and you get to serve the people. Your dream of joining up medical profession would be satisfied. Okay, paramedical across the globe have been they have been earning really good, the salary and everything. A doctor is nothing without a nurse or the paramedical staff. Okay, they get to rely on the people like this, and these people are much more professional in what they do. They have a certain knowledge and they are paid more than enough. So if you are looking for a health and yourself a job in this healthcare sectors, please go consider these two courses. For paramedical, there's a lot of other courses which come under the heading, and it's a very big heading. So please, if you want to know more about the paramedical courses or the nursing as a whole course, please do contact us. We'll be letting you know what would be the most favorable option for you exactly. Okay, Now we'll be looking at some of the different cutoffs, what the other people are saying, telling, and whatever it is. Okay, so basically the cutoff, if you can look at the screen right now. Okay, this is some cutoffs we have taken across from 2019. And actually if you look at it, the last rank for, like, let's suppose in Maharashtra, okay, state counseling quota, okay, the last rank, the last score was around, for general it was 461, and the rank was 75,413. Okay, for Maharashtra in the government and private regional counseling, okay, it was 433, that is 97,845. Now coming to the next slide again. Okay, I'm just giving you a briefing what was the cutoff last year. Okay, so for Andhra Pradesh, you can again see different counseling things. But please understand, what happens is, if you are going through the counseling processes and you are looking for a cutoff, please don't get fooled by it. It would just give you an idea, an overview what the last cutoff went last year. As in the statistics I've already shown you, what happens is, how many students are applying and what are their respective scores. Okay, what are the respective scores, that actually matters to you in the end of the day. Okay, in your category, suppose in SC category, if you are from Karnataka, or let's suppose if you are from Uttar Pradesh, how students from your state has actually done in this examination would matter to you more than anything else. Okay, what is the highest cutoff, the number of forms that will be filled in the state round counseling. Okay, all these points would be considered while taking up a seat. No matter what marks you get, either you are the topper or you are coming on an average to end. Okay, there is something for you guys. You need to understand the counseling processes has not started, and whatever predictions you're getting fed throughout the YouTube or throughout any other social channels, it is totally false or propaganda, what I'll say, because until unless the results are out, you guys won't have the clear cut understanding of how it would go. And we can guide you through this different aspects with our packages. For more information on this different package, I'll just give you a briefing about this packages. With our silver package, all our packages are tailored so that each and every student who is going for this examination, who has done this examination, there's something to gain for you guys. Every student has a different category, a different this, what you call, aim in life, a different path to follow. So please, if you want to know about if you're getting a seat, what is your category details, what college will you get, please follow us on this numbers, and please do take our packages. It would be a very great support to us. If you want expert counseling on because everybody's need is tailored to their own basis. Your friends won't have the same doubts like you have. So please consider taking our silver package at least. All your documentation, profiling, and our counseling would be provided to you on a one-on-one basis. Okay, if you're considered for getting a good score, if you're expecting a good score, please go for the gold or platinum packages, in which we'll be helping you out through the counseling process of different states and the central counseling. We'll be guiding you to get yourself with a college in the first round itself, because 80% of the seats go in the first round itself. Please do note that in the gold package we'll be doing your domicile state and with the MCC state, nothing else. In the platinum, we'll be helping you out apart from your domicile, and the MCC central will be helping you out through various other open states. If some states later on becomes open, we'll be doing your counseling even in that state. So if you have a good marks, you'll have a lot of numbers. If you have a average marks, you have a lot of scope in this. So please note going through this packages. Okay, now the last thing is, if you guys know, for if you want to contact us, okay, we are having a whole team from throughout India, very thorough with different languages. You can see on the screen for the different numbers. If you want yourself to be counseled by us, there are these different languages what we can counsel you in. For whatever language you want, you can give us a call, schedule up a free demo, and we'll be counseling you. Eventually, for expert advice, or if you want to talk to me directly, please go through the silver package, and I'll be counseling you directly at least. So I'll just thank you guys, and I hope all this makes sense to you guys, and I hope you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll just be coming up with the next video about this processes and what are the cutoffs once the result is out.